Unrest from Imperial FFRR, and this is the fourth LP from Unrest. With me in studio are two of the members of the band, two of three. Mark Robinson and Bridget Cross are with us tonight in Washington. Good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How long have you two been together in this band?
We've been together in this band for a year and a half.
And how did you get involved, Bridget?
In Unrest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, is there more? Is there more I should know about?
Tell them the story about how we met.
It's a beautiful, beautiful story. We met on the air at he was going to University of Maryland, and I was sitting in my parents' house listening to the radio late at night, and just started calling up his radio show 4 years ago.
Are you serious? Really?
Yeah.
What was it about the radio show that attracted you? Because, I mean, this can turn into a kind of very strange obsession.
It was, I was obsessed, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was obsessed. I taped all of his shows. I was just obsessed. It was him and Don Smith, I don't know, and they did this crazy radio show, and I was in high school, and I just thought that, they were it.
Well, what separated Mark from Don? I mean, why Mark more than Don? Or maybe Don just didn't have a band going or something?
Well, nothing separated them until I saw them.
Well, what does Don look like?
Oh.
He's attractive. Hey, he's... Yeah. No. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
so I think Don was on the show before.
He was on this show?
Don has been on your show.
Yeah.
Oh, really? With whom?
With his sister.
With his sister for Teenage Gang Debs magazine.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't here when that happened. Right. Okay. So, was it the stuff that they were broadcasting? Was it their sense of humor? Or was it their voices? Or sort of all of the above, Bridget?
I'd say it was all of the above. Mm-hmm.
Did you know about Unrest at all? Did they have did Mark actually have the guts to play his own material on his radio?
He did, although he denies it. He did.
Okay. Did he deny that he was in the band, or he denied that it was his, or he
just pretended? He totally pretended like he had nothing to do with it. He'd say, and this is the latest hit from Unrest, because I guess the first single was out then.
Okay, now's your chance to deny live, Mark. Did you deny it?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay. So you never played your own stuff.
Well, I might have.
What was it? I just saw a piece about you people in the New York Times, and I figure once you're written, yeah. Hello?
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Once you're written up in the New York Times, I think, then it's kind of like, well, you're famous, And I was wondering, how much more famous can you get before it just gets insane and you all have nervous breakdowns?
Well, we're not really that famous. I don't think the average person walking down the street knows who we are. And even your average music fan doesn't know who we are.
I wouldn't say anybody knows us.
Yeah,
but the average,
even in D.C.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's like making the kind of music that you make and doing it for as long as you've done it. You've achieved some kind of recognition that maybe outstripped what you were thinking about when you first started. Is that possible? When you first started, did you think no one is ever going to listen to this, but I'm going to keep making the music that I want to make?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were thinking.
All right, and now people are listening to this, and you're still making the kind of music you want to make.
Right.
Well, what happens if the music that you want to make suddenly becomes like the flavor of the moment?
Chocolate.
Hey, then we'll go with it. 31 flavors.
That's right.
Do you see that that's possibly happening now? I mean, do you think that that's likely?
I don't think we're going to be a flavor. We might be, if people like our particular music, then that's okay. I don't think we're going to be lumped along with, I hope we're not going to be lumped along with a flavor including Pavement and Sebadoh and whatever other band. So
Sebadoh's a flavor and you guys are not?
Ooh.
I wasn't saying that.
What are we talking about here? What's going on? This flavor stuff?
I guess what interests me is that it seems to me that you've been at this for a long time and that you've been doing it on your terms and now more people are paying attention than ever before. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious about how many more people can really pay attention to what you're doing before it sort of starts going all out of control.
I don't know. We'll see what it does. If it goes out of control, then it'll go out of control.
At the same time, it must be gratifying that you're getting this kind of attention, though, right?
It's nice, I guess.
Where is your biggest audience now? Where would the most people come out to see an Unrest show?
New York.
New York, yeah.
And do they know material that dates back to 1983 there?
They do. Maybe not 1983. Maybe like 1987 or something. But they know the stuff, but we don't really play anything that's older than 1990, I don't think, or 91.
But you have a lot of old songs.
Right.
And do they really exist, or are they just something that you put down on tape one time and then said, well, that's that?
Does that mean they don't exist?
Well, they're kind of then they're sort of archival, right? They don't really live and breathe the way that, say, Teach Your Children Well does. You know what I mean? It's not something that people keep resurrecting. Yeah, and because
well, I guess you could say that's we played those songs when we wrote them,
and presumably when you recorded them as well.
Right.
But
nope, didn't play him when we recorded him.
But when you recorded them, was that the end of them? I mean, did you think, okay, this is something we did in studio that we happened to tape? I guess I'm trying to figure out what the early Unrest stuff is like, and how different it is from the stuff on Imperial, because I just don't know. I don't know. I have to admit, I don't know the early stuff.
It's not incredibly different. I think the songs back then had more of like a sense of humor or something, or more of like a stupidity. But there's definitely there's definitely a similar thing going on, I think.
What attracts you to the stupidity in music? Presuming that you're attracted.
Stupidity, but
just comes naturally.
Just more of a kind of a humorous approach.
Yeah. Okay.
That we used to have.
Give me an example.
We used to do a lot of covers. We covered Wild Thing, and we covered 21st Century Schizoid Man, and we covered some obscure Elvis song and a Kiss song and things like that we wouldn't do now, probably.
What is it? Were you one of the kids, Mark, that used to put on the Kiss makeup and pretend you were Peter Criss?
Well, Gene Simmons. Yeah.
No one wanted to be Peter Criss.
I actually saw Kiss about a week ago today.
The real band, the original four?
Well, no.
No, because one of them's dead, isn't
the real Kiss, but it wasn't. No, none of them are dead.
Oh, really?
Well, the other guy's dead. Yeah, Eric Carr is dead.
Yeah, I thought one of them was dead.
But he's not an original member.
So, then who's this? Who is this Kiss that you saw? Is it Gene Simmons? Yeah.
Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Bruce Kulick, who's been in the band since 1985 or something, and the new drummer, Eric Singer.
And how were they?
They were great. I saw them in a small club that only held like 500 people.
Was the place packed?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it? Now, Kiss seems to be... I mean, why Kiss? Why is Kiss important? Why should we care about Kiss?
Because they're great.
But what is it that's great about them? The music, the attitude, the makeup, the solo albums, what is it?
It's a Kiss attitude.
I don't know.
But you like them, don't you? And they're really important to you.
They are really important to him. I can testify to this because he's been walking around in a daze since he's seen them. He was like, oh man, I didn't tell you. I saw Kiss.
Do you understand this, Bridget, or is it necessary to understand it, or do we just have to accept it?
I just accept it about him, yeah.
Okay.
Tell me about what's happening in D.C. right now, because there are a lot of bands there that we begin to hear about through labels like, through labels like yours. And it seems like maybe it's a good place to be making music, or is that an illusion?
It's a good place, except for there's not too many places to play. I think a lot of the bands from around here are getting like national recognition and things like that, like us and Fugazi and Bratmobile and Tsunami and Velocity Girl and what's that other one? Lucy Brown, Mary Chapin Carpenter.
So is it because there's a supportive that you support each other, or is it because?
I just think it just seems like DC might be like a new Seattle or something, just because all the bands that are getting recognition or something. I don't think there's really. It's not a supportive scene like there is in New York or Chicago or some other place like that.
There's so many little labels running around.
Yeah, there's a lot of little labels that are, semi-supportive of each other. But I don't think there's a big audience out there that goes to see like new bands and things like that.
Did you start the Lots of Pop Losers convention?
Well, I participated in it.
And what is the Lots of Pop Losers convention?
It was a weekend that was held last October. That was the name is a ripoff of Lollapalooza, that tour that Jane's Addiction did.
Yeah, that little tour.
That small event.
That small one.
Right.
This is a big thing.
Okay.
Blows Lollapalooza
And
out of the water.
it was like 3 local labels that mainly did it, and there was like a lot of teen beat bands played there, and some bands from New York and some bands from Boston, and it was a 2-day festival. and not too many people came. There was probably like 150 people each day or something like that.
But I mean, do you think that attitude, the pop losers attitude, is a good one for, being on a small label, for making music that isn't full of posturing, that has more to it than gesture?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it was I didn't really like the name when we came out with it, but I guess it was appropriate. We didn't want any, there was only pop bands played, pretty much.
Why didn't you like the name?
Because we're not losers.
Well, I don't know. I wanted to call it like the Bengal Tiger Festival or something.
But
the Great White Whale Music Festival or something like that.
Well, is there a teen beat aesthetic? I mean, do you think that you can say there is one thing that unites all of these bands, other than the fact that they're all on the same label? Is there?
Well, usually they're all friends with each other and they all support each other. So in terms of teen beat, I think there definitely is like a support thing going on.
But I mean, are there people on the label who sound like Soundgarden?
No, but there's definitely a wide variety of sounds. There's Eggs, which is a band that draws heavily from Astrud Gilberto records.
Yeah.
There's a guy, Johnny Cohen, that sings a lot of songs a cappella. Los Marauders from Iowa City that have a real harsh brand of rockabilly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty wide. Most of the bands are from D.C., but we do have Los Marauders from Iowa and Vomit Launch, who are from California.
Yeah, and isn't there something, Sex Milkshake?
Sexual Milkshake.
Yeah, is that one of your bands?
No, I'm in Unrest, and I'm in another band called Grenadine.
What's Grenadine like?
It's 2 guitars and a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
It's acoustic guitar and electric guitar, and it's kind of very soft.
Well,
good stuff.
Is Imperial softer than previous Unrest stuff, or is it? Have you always had? Because there's a really very, very kind of ponderous acoustic side to Imperial as well.
Everybody says it's very acoustic, and I think that. And then I'll say it's acoustic. I didn't know that. And then I'll listen, and it's like, well, I guess I did use acoustic guitar on 4 of the songs, but I don't really think of it as an acoustic record.
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, but are you trying to? I mean, at the beginning you were kind of a hardcore band, weren't you? Or did you just take a name that made it sound like a hardcore band?
We actually wanted to be a hardcore band, and I guess some of the stuff we did play was kind of like a DC brand of hardcore, like 6 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But the name actually came from the album by a band called Henry Cow, which is like a improvisational art rock group.
Chris Cutler and Fred Frith and all those British guys.
Yeah. Their second album was Unrest, and their first album, there was a song called Teen Beat on it.
So did you try to be hardcore, or were you just...
Well, like I said, we had some hardcore songs, but we definitely had, especially back then, we just had a very wide variety of sounds.
Look, I have to ask you the Sammy Davis Jr. question because everybody else does, and if I don't, someone's going to say, "Why didn't you ask him the Sammy Davis Jr. question?" But I mean, I don't know anything about Sammy Davis Jr. I only know about him through where he's cross-referenced in other places. Like I remember when he appeared on the Lucy Show, and I remember,
wow.
I saw.
What did he do on there?
He played himself, and he sang a song with. It was like the older generation of the Lucy Show, where her kids are grown up.
Okay, yeah.
And he sang a song with Lucy Arnaz Jr.
Wow.
So you never saw that. And no. he was Bart Simpson quoted from his autobiography sort of copiously recently.
I think I saw that.
When in the Krusty the Clown's estranged rabbi father episode. And it seems like I'm not old enough to know about him from the first time around when he was really big and famous. I only know about him from the time that he gets referred to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So explain him to me. Why is he so wonderful?
Well, I always thought. I mean, I heard the Candyman, and I saw him on like Archie Bunker and things like that. So I thought he was a kind of a funny guy. And then I went to the store and they had one of his records in the window from I guess like 1966 or 67, and I bought it and I thought it was really amazing stuff. And so I've amassed a collection of 30 Sammy records.
Is there a Sammy fan club? I know that people who love Judy Garland, for instance, kind of find each other.
There probably is, but I don't know it.
And, yeah, and there probably wouldn't be anybody like you in the fan club anyway.
I actually had a ticket to see Frank Sinatra, Liza Minnelli, and Sammy Davis Jr. And Sammy then got cancer like the next week, and my ticket was refunded, and the tour was canceled.
Oh, really? That's kind of sad.
And then he died, I guess, a few months later.
Yeah. You did. Well, did you do the tribute single to him before or after he died? There was a tribute single, wasn't there?
Yeah, kind of. It was a 10-song, 7-inch record.
And were these Sammy songs, or were they songs that were about
not
Sammy?
Really.
They were just
had nothing
songs
to
that
do
you
with Sammy.
dedicated to Sammy.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Did you send him a copy?
Well, I think he was dead.
Ah, okay.
I didn't sell. I could have sent Alta Vise a copy, but
Who?
I didn't do that. Alta Vise, his wife.
Oh, really? You haven't done that yet. Oh, but
No.
there's still time. There's still time.
Yeah.
Let's listen to another song from Imperial. Okay.
Okay.
This is one that I think is quite beautiful and quite fun. It's called "You Are Blushing." A song called "You Are Blushing." Mark Robinson and Bridget Cross are my guests tonight. Bridget, tell me what it's like when you guys play live. It seems to me that you wouldn't be able to do all the things you do on this record when you play live.
Well, I guess you can't do all the guitar tracks at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
What's the energy like? Do you have a light show? Do you? Is there a fog
It's
machine?
magic.
Do you light
I don't know.
candles?
Pull rabbits out of hats and stuff like that.
We light rings around Phil when he plays.
Do you work from a set list, or do you kind of make it up as you go along?
I don't know. Sometimes we have a set list, but somehow I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
She knows.
Oh, jeez,
Well,
I don't know nothing.
Who do I grill? Do I grill Mark or do I grill Bridget about this? What should I do?
Grill Bridget.
No, Bridget, what do you say you and I beat up on Mark and find out?
Yeah.
We usually have the set list. Sometimes we can't find a pen to write it in paper, and sometimes we forget. So
But you both write songs, right?
that is correct.
And most of them, I mean, you write most of them, Mark, just because you've been there longer, right?
That is correct.
So who gets to decide whose songs are played? I mean, is this a democratic decision or?
Well, we only really have a repertoire of about 15 songs right now,
Yeah.
and we usually play about 11 at each night, so it's not really a big decision.
Ah, okay. Okay. Are you doing any covers these days?
We used to do a song called UFO by a band called ESG that did a record on Factory like 10 years ago.
ESG?
Yeah.
That's Emerald, Sapphire, Gold?
Right.
Okay. And so you do...
Do you know them, or you just
no,
just
of
guess?
course. No,
Okay.
we've played them. They're very kind of stripped down, almost pre-techno sounding soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. So who does the vocals on that, Mark? You or...
It's
or
actually an
Bridget?
instrumental.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, they have nice singers when they sing, actually. ESG do.
We actually play a lot of instrumentals lately because we haven't gotten the vocals down for a couple of them.
Well, the instrumentals on Imperial are really interesting. How did you get all the chiming sounds on Champion 9s, the things that sound like bells? What are they?
Those are all the things that Wharton, who's the guy that produces our records, had in his studio. He just had a million little
Little ringing things.
little toys. Yeah.
So-
One of the things is a saw blade.
That you're just winging it so it wobbles
actually
back and forth, or hitting it?
hitting
or-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say winging it?
Oh no,
Boy,
you're
I
thinking
said-
of it's not. It's a saw, like a round saw.
A round
thing.
saw.
Yeah.
What do you mean, like
Yeah,
a
you-
band saw?
Yeah.
Like the stuff you can
You like
slice, dice,
using
and cut
wood shop.
celery with?
Yeah.
Like a kitchen saw.
We saw great.
You're just confusing me, okay? You're just confusing me. You saw great what?
Sorry.
a great commercial in the
mad.
lobby
Oh,
on Canadian Broadcasting. I guess it was on. It was a commercial in between Alice.
um,
Because they have Alice
this
up
is
there in Canada.
in the National Press Building where you are right now, you mean?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It was
was
for
that?
the
Magic something.
Cutter Magic or something like that.
Magic slice or something.
Yeah.
And
It's really great.
what are they guaranteeing it will shut? It will slice through.
It
Oh.
slices through anything
Yeah, it's
and
amazing.
chops it up into tiny bits.
You can stir fry really easily with this thing too.
And it's a big item among like single farmers living in Wisconsin or something, I'm sure.
Right, I'm sure.
The-
Manitoba and Saskatchewan.
Exactly.
And,
and all the other mass murder capitals of the world. So I want to throw a few more names at you, okay? Paul Williams. Whatever happened to Paul Williams? When it used to be that every variety program that I ever turned on in the United States, there was this little guy, Paul Williams, or he used to be on Hollywood Squares all the time, and now he's just gone. He's gone.
He was huge. He was in I think Brian De Palma's first movie.
Yep, Phantom of the Paradise. Right.
He was on a great episode of The Odd Couple.
And Love Boat and stuff like that too, I think.
Oh yeah, he wrote the Love Boat theme.
That's right.
Really?
And he wrote a lot of the Carpenter's big hits.
You know, which of the Carpenters songs do you write?
Good Old Fashioned Love Song. No, I guess somebody else sang that.
Just an old-fashioned love song, yeah. Who sang that?
Three Dog Night
did a version of it for sure, yeah.
Well, I don't know, but anyway, he did some good stuff.
Well, you love pop music, don't you? Like just regular sort of bubblegum pop music, by the sounds of things. Okay.
Not like I don't really like stuff like today, like Mariah Carey or anything like that. But
yeah,
I like a lot of the old stuff.
Yeah. Did Paul Williams write "You've Only Just Begun"? We've only just begun.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll say that.
What else was I gonna say? Oh, I saw him recently, about 6 months ago, on some show called Comedy Central or Comedy something, and they have like a guest host every week or every night, and Paul Williams was the guest host.
Was he funny?
Well, he pretty much he was kind of funny. He introduced the acts and stuff. He was kind of a comedian too. He was a comic actor back in the 70s. So
yeah, and there were always a lot of jokes at the expense of his height and that kind of thing. So cheap shots being made, that kind of stuff. Have you ever seen Across 110th Street, the movie?
I don't know.
So it's a great blaxploitation film.
Oh, actually, no. I've heard songs from that. I was wondering why it sounded familiar because there's a new.
There's a new compilation that Ice-T helped put together.
Right. Yeah. We listened to that.
It's a great film.
I just saw Honky the other night.
Now, is this an actual from the era of blaxploitation films?
Yeah.
Is it a film from that era?
How was great.
It? Really?
Oh, it was so 70s. It was almost painful. It was great. It was about an interracial marriage, or not a marriage, just a relationship.
But the record Custom Carnal Blaxploitation is not really a reference so much to blaxploitation films as it is to Kenneth Anger, right?
Yeah, it's kind of both. There's definitely blaxploitation film stuff going on in there.
Have you seen? I mean, has Kenneth Anger been making films recently? Has he been actually making movies at all?
Supposedly he is. Well, actually, I know that he's producing a series about his books, Hollywood Babylon.
Yeah.
And I think Tony Curtis is supposed to be the guest host, and it's going to be on cable channel. And there's going to be like a series of 16 episodes or something like that. So he's producing that. And he's supposed to be doing a movie that has mechanical Disney wind-up toys in it.
Wow. Well, that sounds kind of evil.
Yeah.
I read an interview with him, and he said that he did a lot of the research for Hollywood Babylon through ESP.
Wow.
And he's also talking a lot about black magic, and I get the feeling that maybe he wouldn't be a good person to have as your enemy.
Right.
I don't know. It just seemed kind of spooky.